Okay, so still another story from the destroyer time um, was riding out a typhoon in the Pacific. Um, all ships usually have to get underway during a typhoon because they don't want to be caught in a harbor tide and with these wild winds. So they can usually maneuver better when they go out to sea. And of course, a destroyer is not a very big ship. It's 359 feet long, which is big, sort of, because it's a football field plus 59 feet. They're bigger now, but I was on a Fletcher class, a DD 445 class. I was DD 652, and we rode out a Typhoon, and it was a very, I would not like to do that every day, although it brings back a lot of memories. When I had bridge watches, nobody worked during a typhoon. I mean, you were so sacked when you ended the watch. You went to your bunk and kind of braced yourself in it and hoped that you didn't fall out of it. And I mean, you were just fatigued just from standing up for 4 hours and try to stand up because all of your muscles were working. And I mean, after 4 hours of trying to stand up, I mean, you headed for your bunk and laid down and braced yourself with the hanging chains in the bunk to keep from falling out. And so I stood bridge watches during that. Now, a destroyer is not a big ship, but it's one that's 369 feet long, a football field plus 69 feet. The bridge is probably 5 stories above the water line. And the tip top of the mast with the radar is probably 12. So that's not a small thing, And I remember one thing you can't do is you can't let the sea, you can't run up sea. You have to always run at an angle to the oncoming sea, like 30 degrees, 45 degrees, because if you let the sea turn you around and is trailing sea, you'll lose control of the ship because
Yeah, he likes armpits.
you don't head directly into the oncoming sea. You head into the sea, depending how big it is, 30 to 45 degrees. So you really take a pounding. I mean, you're just driving into the oncoming sea at this angle. And I mean, I remember the bridge was 4 stories above the water line. I remember waves crashing over the bridge. All of a sudden you'd be down in a trough, and then you'd rise up, and you wouldn't quite make it to the top of the next crest, and the waves actually crashed over the bridge, which, those are 4-story waves plus. So,
Wow. So what'd you do?
and a lot of wind and blowing and spray and rain. You really couldn't see where the sea ended and where the sky began. And then when your 4-hour watch was over, man, you'd work your way back to your bunk and brace yourself in and say, whoa, God, I made it for another 4 hours, you know.
Did you have seat belts in your bunk?
No, they were just, the bunks were suspended with chains. And actually what you did, you either laid on your back or on your stomach, and you braced your feet against the two bottom chains.
Oh my
And
God.
you braced your arms against the two top chains and tried to go to sleep.
Wow, that sounds like sleeping at the Marina Towers down here in Chicago Loop.
I don't know what it's like sleeping there, but I don't think it's quite like sleeping at the Marina Towers. So what have you heard about the Marina Towers and sleeping?
Well, it sways over 20-something feet.
Oh, yeah, but you probably don't feel it.
Well, I just assume that you have something to hang on to when you're sleeping there.
No, when I first started working back in Chicago here, I was in the, was on Wacker, across the street from Sears Tower. And we had some major storms, and the building did sway because it was unprotected at that time. It was, the winds that came in from the west basically hit the building. And I remember they couldn't keep we had a grandfather's clock in the reception room. And they had to turn it off during these big windstorms because the pendulum got all out of whack.
Oh.
And it was a pendulum clock.
Mm-hmm.
And it lost time and so forth, you know. And I remember actually sitting at the desk, actually feeling a difference in pressure on my feet. As I was working, you know, you could feel the building swaying. That's only 30 stories.
Unbelievable. So, do they have a fish tank there? I wonder if the fish got seasick.
Oh, I have another story about a fish tank
Okay.
on the submarine I was on. So that kind of ends the story of my Typhoon experience.
Wow, Typhoon. So again, your name is
Dan Riess.
Captain?